Hello everyone, this is Captain Yasmin, and in this video I'll be discussing regarding the writing module, because most of the people, they are having this fear that how they have to complete their task and how they are going to assess, the examiners are going to assess your letter. So let's discuss, as I'll be just giving you the brief information regarding the writing module. That writing module has only one task, that is the letter. It can be the discharge letter, it can be the referral letter, or it can be the transfer letter, or sometimes if you are a school nurse, you'll be writing a letter to the parents, or sometimes to the head teacher or something like that. So the first thing is that please understand it carefully, because most of the students, they just focus on the case notes and just keep on paraphrasing it in their own words. That is not important, because the relevancy is really much important, and I'll be discussing the 5 criteria. So let's discuss one by one, and then you'll be getting the good idea that how they are going to assess your letters. The first thing is the overall task fulfillment. It includes whether all the aspects of tasks are fulfilled and whether the response is of required length, of course, because they are just going to assess that whether your task has fulfilled all the requirements or not. And most importantly, the thing is the word count, because they have given you the word count of 180 to 200 words, and students get diverted that how many words they have to write. Sometimes they keep on writing the irrelevant information just to complete the word count. It is not at all right, because they are just assessing it according to the 5 criteria, not according to the only one criteria, that is called the word length. That is not important, but you have to keep that criteria in your mind, that they may assess it according to the criteria, this criteria as well, but you have to fulfill the other criteria also. That's why I'm just reiterating that all aspects of the task are fulfilled. So the first criteria is this one only. And let's move on to the next criteria, that is the appropriateness and language. Let's see that what they have written in this. It includes the use of appropriate vocabulary and tone in the response, and whether it is organized appropriately. Yes, of course, the appropriate vocabulary is really important. I'm not telling you that you have to use the hi-fi vocabulary, because it is not at all required in OET examination. But the thing is, it is really important, because sometimes you are just not using the appropriate language. Sometimes you use the informal language, because as you can say, like kids, like some students, they use the word kids and they see that, ma'am, it's also an English word, so why I can't use this word, but the formal word is children. So that's why the appropriateness is really important in the words as well as with the vocabulary. Like the vocabulary is very important in this, like in the writing, but it should be the appropriate one and the simple one and the natural one. Because if you're going to use the hi-fi words like sabbatical, or you can say the plethora or recapitulate, these are the words you can use in your IELTS exam, not in OET, because it is not at all apt. So the next thing is whether it is organized appropriately or not. Yes, of course, because if it is not organized properly, they will definitely deduct your marks. You have to organize it appropriately. I always keep on telling my students, just create a story, because if you're going to create a story, then it is very easy to understand the letter. If you're not going to just keep on just paraphrasing it and you're just writing it according to the case notes, you will not get good marks. I keep on repeating these things in my videos, that just create a story in your letter, because the reader is also just need to know that what you're trying to impart, what you're trying to converse. This is only important. And the third criteria is comprehension of stimulus. It includes whether the response shows candidates have understood the situation and provided relevant rather than unnecessary information to the reader. Yes, of course, I have already told you previously that the thing is, you have to pick the relevant case notes. There is no need to write the irrelevant information just to complete the word count. it is not important. Just focus on the relevancy, because I just share my experience. One of my students, she appeared in 2015, my student Kanupriya. Right now she is RN in Australia, and she has written 133 words in her writing, and she got B in first attempt. So B each, rather, I can say. And so the thing is, criteria is not that much important. And even I just want to discuss the other part as well. That is, one of my student Meenakshi, you might have seen her videos, and in that she has written 250 words in her exam, and that was in January 2018 only. So she has also got B in first attempt. So the thing is, the criteria is not about the word count. That is just important, the relevancy. And both of my students, they have written the relevant information. They have just picked the relevant information. That's why they have got B. There is no as such criteria, because I'm just repeating it again, that there are 5 criteria on which they are going to assess your letter. So let's move on to the next parameter, that is the comprehension of stimulus. In this, as I have already told you, that you have to understand the situation carefully and relevant information rather than unnecessary information. I'm just repeating it again, that the relevant information is really important. And because if you're going to create a story, the examiner will himself come to know that you have understood the criteria, that what is the exact situation. And let's move on to the next one, that is the control of linguistic features. Yes, of course, grammar and cohesion is also going to play a cardinal role in your examination, no doubt in that. But how effectively candidates communicate using the grammatical structure and cohesive devices of English. Yes, of course, the cohesive devices of English is really important, because most of the students, they keep on writing and keep on just adjusting their connectors or the cohesive devices in their letters, like however, moreover, and sometimes it is not required. So I just keep on telling the students, please unnecessarily don't write the cohesive devices, but you have to use it appropriately. Don't just do it like just for the sake of the letter, that you'll be getting good marks, and if you're going to write good, if you're going to use these connectors in your letter. And of course the grammatical structure is important, but I must clarify one thing, that people think that you are going to use the passive voice, then only you'll be getting the good marks. It's not like that, because as everybody is aware of the structure, in the introduction it should be like a normal introduction, and in that the present tense is most of the time we are using, and the future tense also. And the second thing is, that is the social history or the past medical history. In that, most of the time, as it's a past medical history, so definitely you'll be using the past tense in that. And the third is when you're talking about the during hospitalization or the current situation, and that again you'll be using the present tense. And yes, when you're requesting, and that in that paragraph you can use the passive voice, but don't misguide the reader by using the passive voice in each and every paragraph. Then definitely you will get less marks. Okay. Let's move on to the last criteria, that is the control of presentation features, that is the spelling, punctuation and layout. It includes how these areas affect the message candidates want to communicate. Yes, of course, because these 3 things are really important, that is the spelling errors and the punctuation and layout. Of course, if you are not writing the appropriate words and the spelling mistakes are there, definitely you will not get B, because the spelling errors are also going to deduct your marks. And most importantly, just do the proofreading and you will not commit such type of mistakes. And then the thing is punctuation. Of course, punctuation is really important, because sometimes you unnecessarily keep on using the words like punctuations. Like sometimes I have seen that most of the people, they keep on writing putting a comma after kindly. I don't know why it is required. They might have seen in some sentence it was maybe something else, and people are not aware of the relative qualifier clauses and the non-relative ones. So maybe that's why people are not understanding the things. But if you want to just go into that deep, just refer the non-defining clauses as well as the defining clauses. And yes, of course, layout is really important, because I keep on telling my students, if the presentation is not good and sometimes the paragraph is just going beyond the lines or the rule lines. So if the examiner is not happy with the presentation, that he may deduct your marks for that as well. So please work on the layout as in the writing module. This is all from my side. Just focus on all these 5 criteria and you can get really good marks in your writing task. It's just a one task and you can easily get B and even A as well. Have a great day.